pink color structure, whatever it is, what is there, these are all smooth muscle cells. So they are predominating. So this is a hamartoma. It's abnormal to the skin. So these are the means when the organ has certain tissues which is normal to its presence, means if it is normally present in that organ, but they are not in an organized manner, it's not in a normal structure, then you say that them as hamartomas. So that is hamartoma. So these are different pictures of the hamartomas. Then coming to the next condition, that is called as choristoma. So what is choristoma is that it is a type of ectopic tissues. The ectopic tissue means these tissues are normally not found in that organ, but then you can find in certain conditions, you can find those tissues in that particular organ. Say for instance, in this picture, what is abnormal change you can find in this picture? What is the organ? Of course, it is mentioned there, but what is the abnormal picture which is present here? Can anyone say that? Can anyone identify the abnormal picture? What is the structure here? Where I am moving the cursor, what is the structure? Any guess? No one.
Patch.
What is that?
Pairs patches.
Pairs patches. No. What is this organ first of all? What is this organ?
Liver.
Yeah, it's mentioned there. It is liver, of course. This is actually a mass of cartilage. This is actually the. Can you see the cursor where I am moving that? This is a lower magnification. This is higher magnification. So here you can find a mass of cartilage. So normally in the liver you don't find a cartilage. Cartilage is normally not found in liver. But then you are finding something abnormal. The cartilage is a totally new structure which should not be present in case of the liver. But if you find certain structures which is not indigenous to that organ, indigenous to that structure, indigenous to the tissue, then you say them as choristomas. Clear? What is the difference between hamartomas? Hamartoma means this structure is normal to that organ, but then only thing is that their architecture, their arrangement is different. Then you say them as hamartomas. Then a tissue which is normally not present in an organ, and if it is present in an abnormal, means if it is ectopic, means normally it is not found, but in a certain pathological condition you can find the presence of a particular structure which is not to be present in that particular organ. Then you call them as choristomas. So this is actually a choristoma where you can find the presence of cartilage in the liver. So these are certain conditions where you can find the presence or the term ending with oma, but it is not a neoplastic condition. That is hematomas, hamartomas, and choristomas. So these are you should remember. And there are certain, of course, the certain terms which can be used for both benign as well as the malignant tumors like glioma, lymphoma, mesothelioma, melanoma, and seminomas. So this is all about the different terminologies associated with the tumor condition. So the next part or next topic what we are going to discuss is how to differentiate benign and malignant tumors. So there are three major fundamental characters or features based on which benign and malignant tumors are characterized. One is called as differentiation and anaplasia. The first feature is differentiation and anaplasia. Of course, we will be discussing what are these subsequently. Then the next feature is invasion, local invasion. Then the third feature is metastasis. So these are three important categories or features based on which benign and malignant tumors can be differentiated. Of course, there is another criteria which is called as a rate of growth. That can also be used for differentiation, but then there is some what you can say discrepancies in that feature. So nowadays it's not used as a criteria for categorization or classification. But previously, rate of growth was also a feature used for the differentiation of benign and malignant tumors. But nowadays it's not used because there are some discrepancies or what you can find, what you can say, certain characters which cannot be used as a proper feature for differentiation of both benign and malignant tumors. So because of that, rate of growth is nowadays not used as a feature for characterization, but still you can use to certain degree, you can use that one also as a feature for character for differentiation. So coming to the first feature, differentiation and anaplasia. What do you mean by differentiation? Differentiation basically refers to the extent to which a neoplasm resembles their normal parenchymal cells. That means the parenchymal cells of its origin. A neoplasm, if it is coming from a liver cell, a normal liver cell will have certain features. So in case of benign neoplasms, these features will be more or less similar to that of the normal cells. But in case of malignant neoplasms, their feature will be different, totally different. So that is what you normally say it as differentiation. So differentiation basically refers to the extent to which a tumor resembles its normal counterpart. Extent to which a neoplasm resembles its normal counterpart or the parenchymal cell of origin, both morphologically and functionally. Both morphologically and functionally. Say for instance, what do you mean by that? Morphologically means, say if it is a skin or if it is a fibrous tissue normally should be spindle shape. In case of fibroma, the fibrous tissue will be spindle shape. But when it becomes fibrosarcoma, there the cells become more round or oval in shape. So that is morphological feature. Then what do you mean by functionally means? Say if it is a tumor arising from the pituitary gland, it is a pituitary gland epithelium. So this pituitary gland, any glandular epithelium, it secretes produces certain type of secretions. Say salivary gland epithelium. So when salivary gland neoplasm takes place in a salivary gland, then when it is a benign neoplasm, when the neoplasm is benign, you can find that the tumors also produce a saliva. But then in case of malignant condition, you find that it may not produce a saliva. So that is functionally not not differentiated. Is that clear? It may be morphological differentiation or functional differentiation. So when this differentiation is absent, when there is no differentiation, when there is lack of differentiation, you normally say that condition as anaplasia. There is lack of differentiation, then you say them as anaplasia. So in general, benign neoplasms are well differentiated. Generally, as a general feature, as when you say benign neoplasm, in majority of the conditions, benign neoplasms are well differentiated. What do you mean by that? It closely resembles the normal counterpart. But then, in case of malignant neoplasms, they are less differentiated. Usually, malignant neoplasms are less differentiated or they lack differentiation. So here you have to remember that anaplasia basically refers to reversal to the embryonal stage. Reversal to the embryonal stage. So here the cells in the malignant conditions, they are more embryonal in nature. So rather than, so even though anaplasia basically refers to de-differentiation, that means, if you remember RBC, just for your understanding, if you remember an RBC has different stage in its development stage. Say rubriblast, rubricites, megakaryocytes, karyoblast, different stages are there. So the so the karyocytes or megakaryocytes is the initial stages. It slowly changes into rubricites, rubriblast, rubricites, and then ultimately the mature RBCs. So these are different stages in the development of the RBCs. So normally the RBC, when it is a tumor arising from a RBC which is a benign nature, then the RBC will be more or less in the rubricite stage, the more matured form of the stage, or even in the form of RBC also, the matured RBCs. But in case of the malignant tumors, it will be in the megakaryocyte stage, in the initial stages of development. So that is what you normally find in case of malignant neoplasm. Malignant neoplasms are usually embryonal in nature, whereas the benign neoplasms are more matured or well differentiated in nature. Just a minute, some of your friends are joining. So is that clear so far, what I am telling?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, but then when you say in anaplasia, so what we have seen, anaplasia means, it literally means backward formation. Backward formation means it will be in the developmental stages, not in the matured stage. So tumors composed of undifferentiated cells are said to be anaplastic. So if it is having undifferentiated cell, they are usually referred to as anaplastic. So it is an important feature of malignancy. Important feature of malignancy. So most of the malignant tumors you can find they are anaplastic in nature. Benign tumors are more differentiated or well differentiated in nature. So this differentiation can be both structurally as well as in functional differentiation. So coming to what are the different features of anaplasia? What are the different features of anaplasia? Morphologically, how an anaplastic cell will look. The most important or consistent feature what you can find is that anaplastic cells are usually pleomorphic in nature. Pleomorphism. Pleomorphism is a very important feature of anaplasia. What do you mean by pleomorphism? Pleomorphism refers to variation in size and shape of the cells. Variations in the size and shape of the cells. In this picture, so this is actually a tumor arising from the rhabdomyosarcoma. This is a tumor of rhabdomyosarcoma. When you closely observe this picture, see these are muscle cells. This is one cell, this is another cell, this is another cell. So, but then you see the size variation in the size of the cells. See, this cell is very large. This cell is very small. This cell is still small. This is still small. You can find here multiple nucleus. So there are pleomorphism. They are pleomorphic in nature. That is what variation in size and shape of the cell as well as the nucleus. So there may be cellular as well as the nuclear pleomorphism. That is a very important feature of anaplasia, pleomorphic nature. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
So that is first feature, pleomorphism. Then second feature is nuclear abnormalities. Nuclear abnormalities. What are those? Nuclear abnormalities means, say in this schematic, this is of course a schematic. What you can find is that the nucleus is more circular or oval shape. It means whatever the shape may be, but it is a consistent shape you can find. and the cells are of similar size. You look at the size of the cells. So in the second picture, this again is schematic. You can find the amount of cytoplasm is less. You can find that the amount of cytoplasm is less and the nucleus is more larger in size. So that is a first major feature what you can find. The nucleus will be more larger in size. There will be increase in the nuclear cytoplasm ratio. Normally, the nucleus cytoplasm ratio in majority of the cells ranges from 1:4 to 1:6. What do you mean by that? 1:4 to 1:6, if you say, for every 6 part of the cytoplasm, you can find 1 part of the nucleus in a normal cell. Or it may range from 1:4 to 1.6. In some cells, it will be for every 4 part of cytoplasm, you will find 1 part of nucleus. In some cells, you can find for every 6 part of the cytoplasm, you can find 1 part of nucleus. But then, in case of cancer cells, you can find that the nuclear cytoplasm ratio is increased. It increases to 1:2 or even sometimes 1:1. The nuclear cytoplasm ratio increases. It increases to 1:2 or even 1:1. Or even in some cases, you can find that the nucleus is more, the nuclear content is more than the cytoplasmic content. So that is nuclear abnormalities. You can find increase in the size of the nucleus. Then you can find another picture you can find is that there will be multiple nucleus. Instead of single cell, say in this schematic also you can find there are 2 nucleus here. So in this picture, if you go to this picture, in this picture, you can find this is 1 cell. In this 1 cell, you can find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 nucleuses. In this cell, if you see, there are 2 nucleus. 1, 2. In this cell, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that is multiple nucleus you can find. And another important feature what you can find in the nucleus is that the nucleus will be more darker. It will be hyperchromatic in nature. The nucleus will be hyperchromatic. It will be more darker in color than the normal nucleus. Clear? The nucleus will be larger in size. It will be more darker. You can find multiple nucleus. And you can also find multiple nucleoli. You can also find multiple nucleoli. And the chromatin content is more coarse in nature. The chromatin content is more coarse. Means it will be, it will not be smooth. It will be having granular. It will be more granular or more coarse in nature. Coarse means it will be in the form of multiple granules. Coarse in nature. So these are some of the nuclear abnormalities what you can find. So that is another important feature. First one is pleomorphism, which can be in the variations in size and shape of the cells. So it can be larger. Some cells will be smaller, some will be larger, some will be oval, some will be round, some will be elliptical. It can be either in the size as well as the shape of the cell. So those feature you say it as pleomorphism. Then you can find nuclear abnormalities. Then the third feature what you can find, anaplastic feature, is that you can find presence of giant cell. Again, this picture, this is actually a picture of giant cell. This is a tumor giant cell. What is a giant cell? When you say a giant cell, if you find multiple nucleus, especially multiple nucleus in a large cell, a large sized cell, giant is a term. That's why the term itself is used as giant cell, a large type of cell which is having multiple nucleus in it. That is what you normally say that as giant cell. So you can find here, this is a very large cell. See, this is one nucleus. See, this is one cell. Are you able to see the cursor? Please respond.
Yes,
so again, I'm just to differentiation. See this cell. This is one muscle cell, a rhabdomyocyte. So this one muscle cell, you see the size of this cell. you see the size of the cell. So this cell is much larger in size and it is having multiple nucleus. So here in this also you can find that the nucleus is, sorry, the cell is much larger in size, but you can find only the nucleus is single. You don't say this one has a giant cell. This is not a giant cell. Giant cells are those which has multiple nucleus in them and which are much larger in size. So thus those type of cells are called as tumor giant cells. So the formation of tumor giant cell is another important feature of anaplasia. So that is another feature what you can find. Then you can also find atypical mitosis. Atypical mitosis. That means what is basically what you can say it as these features. It's called as mitotic figures. So these are usually referred to as mitotic figures. Say this picture. Yeah. See this picture. See again in this picture you can see the size of the nucleus. So some nucleus. This is one nucleus. See the size how it is. It is elliptical. See here, this is oval. This is oval. But then you can find here in this nucleus, you can find that the chromatin is tripod. Tripod means three moving, or chromatin is condensed and it is in the form of three strands of the chromatin. So such type of features of the bizarre, it is usually referred to as the bizarre organization of the chromatin content. Bizarre organization of the chromatin content. You normally say these type of features as mitotic figures. So what are these mitotic figures? What these mitotic figures basically denotes? So these mitotic figures basically denotes the replicative potential of the cells. The cells which are more, which is showing proliferative nature, which is having more proliferation. In those cells, you can find the number of mitotic figures are more. So naturally, you can expect malignant cells or malignant tumors are highly proliferative. They are growing much faster, or they grow, or the number of cells which is multiplying in a malignant tumors are more than in case of benign tumors. So naturally, what we can expect, the number of mitotic figures will be more in case of malignant tumors. So that is mitotic figures. These are figures called, these pictures are, these type of cells are called as mitotic figures. So in this cell it is not, yeah, in this one you can again find, say this is one cell. See the chromatin here. It is condensed and it is having a rod shape. This is a normal chromatin, round shape. This is a rod shape. So this is again mitotic figures. Again, this one, see this one, it's a mitotic figure. See this one, it's a mitotic figure. Is that clear? So, the normal shaped nucleus, which basically denotes the condensed form of the chromatin, the condensed chromatin of the nucleus is normally what you say it as mitotic figures. So, the more the mitotic figures, it indicates that the cells are highly proliferative in nature. So naturally, you can expect, you have to remember, in case of benign tumors, the number of mitotic figures is less. In case of malignant tumors, the number of mitotic figure is more, because malignant tumors multiplies faster. So the number of cells which is multiplying is more in case of malignant tumors than in benign tumors. So the mitotic figures are also, we can find more in case of malignant tumors. So that is another feature. We can find atypical mitosis or mitotic figures. Then another important feature what you can find is the loss of polarity. Loss of polarity. So what do you mean by this loss of polarity is that, see, this is a picture showing the, what is this one? Anyone? What is this picture here?
Epithelium.
Yeah, it is actually the epithelium. You can find, this is a stratum basal, where you can see the size of the nucleus and size of the cells or type of the cells here. Here the cells will be more round in shape, and the nucleus are more round in shape. This is a stratum basal. Then when you just move above, you can find that the cells becomes more of a elliptical or more oval in shape. As you go upper and higher, you can find the number of nucleus is reducing. Then when you go to stratum granulosum, you can find that the nucleus is totally what you can say flat. And in the corneum, you normally don't find the nucleated cells. The nucleus is absent here. Here in the stratum corneum, you only find the epithelium, means the keratinized layers. So these are different layers. So gradually as the cells mature in size, that is what you said, differentiation. So here the epithelial cells, it is just developing, and here it is differentiating. Here it is slowly differentiating into different stages or different developmental stages. So every cell has different size and shape and features. So normally you have to find this grading or differentiation as you move from the basal layer to the outer layer, the corneal layer. But then this is what you say, it's a normal polarity. This is a normal polarity. That means the normal arrangement. The architecture is arranged in a normal manner. But when you find this picture, here you can find degree of differentiation. See, this is a basal cell, basal layer. But then if it is slowly moving above and above, here it becomes completely absent. There is no nucleated cells. Here it is more oval. But then here you can find it's a mild dysplasia. Therein there is rearrangement of cells. Some of the cells on the, in this layer, this is a normally you can say a stratum spinosum, a spinosum cell. You can find a much oval larger nucleus here. Even you can find here, you also see in the stratum corneum also you can find this is a stratum corneum, you can find nucleus. Normally you don't find a nucleus in the stratum corneum. So there is variation in the size or the variation in the type of the cells. So that is normally you say it as dysplasia. There is variation in the dysplasia, basically refers to the disorganized polarity, disorganized arrangement of the cells, disorganized arrangement of the cell. So this dysplasia is basically a feature what you will find in case of epithelium. Majority of the times the dysplastic features you will find in case of epithelium only. You can find not only in some cases, rarely in other tissues also you can find dysplastic features or dearrangement. Basically what this means abnormal. It's not a normal. Plasia means growth. So dysplasia means abnormal. You can find even say slowly and slowly the number of dysplastic features are increasing. So that is what you normally say that as disorganized architecture or arrangement of the cells is called as dysplasia. So when these dysplastic features means when the entire skin epidermis, when the entire epidermis is showing dysplastic features, see, you can find round basal cells even at the corneal layers. This is of course the corneum. Here you can find, you see this is a round nucleus here. See, you can find here dysplasia. Completely the architecture is, you don't find the normal arrangement. So when the entire thickness of the skin involves, when the dysplastic features involves the entire thickness of the skin, then but still the basement membrane which contains the epidermis is intact. The basement membrane is intact. then you say this condition as carcinoma in situ. So carcinoma in situ is a marked dysplastic change which involves the entire thickness of the epidermis. So normally you say this condition as carcinoma in situ. So this is not a neoplastic condition. Carcinoma in situ is a pre-neoplastic condition, because you can find the epidermis is still intact. So I mean to say the basement membrane is still intact. The basement membrane which controls the arrangement of these different layers of the epidermis, they are still intact. So when the basement membrane is intact, but you can find the variation in the type of cells in the epidermis, normally you say that condition as carcinoma in situ, which is a pre-neoplastic condition. It's not a neoplastic condition. It's a pre-neoplastic condition. So this is what you find in case of another feature. What you find is dysplasia or loss of polarity. Loss of polarity, which we normally denote say it as dysplasia. So it is a disorderly growth. There is no orderly growth. So these are some of the important features what you can find in case of anaplasia, anaplastic features. Then so this picture I have just basically put to differentiate to show to you how the normal. See in this picture, there are three different conditions. This is actually a histological picture of the stomach epithelium of the stomach, gastric epithelium. So normally you see this one is a normal gastric epithelium where you can find the gastric glands down here. But then to the right, you can find it is a carcinoma condition. It's a carcinoma condition. So you see, this is a normal stomach epithelium. This is the adenoma, wherein you can still find these glands. So you can find the glands, but only thing is that the morphological features of the glands are changed. The morphological features of the glands are changed. But still you can find the glandular pattern. Then if you come to this side, you can find totally the glandular pattern is still, it is there, but it is totally disorganized. Totally disorganized. So that this picture I have basically put to show you how the different stages or how you can differentiate different types of a normal stomach structure, then adenoma, where you can find it's a more or less normal type, but still the type of the cell, see the cell's shape here, it's more of a globulate cell here, but you can find the globulate cell is not there, only the glandular epithelial cells are there. But then you can find the you can find, see this is epithelium is the shape and size, but here it is adenocarcinoma is malignant condition where it is totally the architecture is changed. Still you can find some glandular pattern, but otherwise see these glands are, you don't find see this gland, if you see, you don't find the lumen. Sometimes you can also find that it is totally, see in this picture you don't find any glands also, only proliferating, the epithelial cells are proliferating. You don't find the glandular pattern. So that is a malignant condition. So that is to differentiate different types of epithelium. You can, I have just put this picture. So, and another picture is that to differentiate again. So this is in this picture, this is a picture of a squamous cell carcinoma. It is a malignant type of tumor. But then Here also in this malignant type of tumor, you can find the differentiation is quite good. Here it is a basal layer. Here it is a keratinous layer. So you can find different layers of the epidermis. So this is an epidermal cell, basal layer of the. So this is usually called, this structure is usually called as a cell nest or epithelial pearl. It is usually referred to as epithelial pearl or cell nest. So why I am showing is that malignant tumors can be well differentiated. It can be well differentiated, where you can find basal layer, then keratinized layer. So it is all differentiated. Total differentiation is possible. Or it can be poorly differentiated. This is a picture, again, example of poorly differentiated malignant neoplasm. This is a tumor arising from the rhabdomyocytes. It's a rhabdomyosarcoma. It's a malignant tumor arising from the rhabdomyocytes. So malignant tumors can be either well differentiated or it can be poorly differentiated, depending upon the type of the cells which is showing malignancy or degree of malignancy. Depending upon the degree of malignancy or type of cells, it can be either well differentiated or it can be poorly differentiated. So that is the different features of the based upon the differentiation, how to differentiate differentiation and anaplasia. So generally, basically what you have to remember, malignant tumors are less differentiated or more anaplastic. Malignant tumors are less differentiated or more anaplastic. Benign tumors are less anaplastic and more differentiated. Benign tumors are less anaplastic. The features of anaplasia are less in case of benign tumors, but that the degree of differentiation is more in case of benign tumors. Then the next feature of differentiation is rate of growth. So when you come to the rate of growth, is the slide visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the next feature is rate of growth. So when you say the rate of growth of a tumor is determined by three major features. There are three important features which you have to remember when you say the rate of growth. One is the doubling time of the tumor cell. Then the fraction of the tumor cell that is in the replicative pool. Then the third feature is rate at which the cells are shed or lost in the growing lesion. So there are three important features. One is a doubling time. So what do you mean by doubling time? Doubling time, it refers to the amount of time required for a single cell to develop into a two cell. That means one mitosis to take place. So that is what you normally say that as doubling time. So normally for a tumor to be clinically visible, the smallest clinically visible mass, a tumor should multiply at least 30 doubling. It requires at least 30 doubling. Any type of tumor growth, it requires at least 30 doubling. That means one cell becomes two cell to three cell, 2 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 16, 16 to 32. That means that is what you normally say that as doubling. So a tumor should be a minimum of 10 to the power of 9 cells. 10 to the power of 9 cells, which approximately weighs around 1 gram. To be clinically visible, clinically detectable mass. So that requires almost 30 doublings. But then within 10 further doublings, the tumor becomes 1 kilogram in size. And that means by the time it becomes 10 to the power of 12 number of cells, 10 to the power of 12 number of cells, it becomes much larger in size. So why that is important? Because basically what you have to, why we should know this, because by the time a tumor is diagnosed, by the time you detect a tumor, you should remember that the tumor has already completed almost like 75 to 80% of its growth. 75 to 80% means it is already grown. You require only very few further growth for a tumor to become malignant or to cause damage or pathological lesion. So that is a feature what you normally say that as doubling time. So here a normal cell, which is converted to a single tumor cell. So then a single tumor cell undergoes 30 doublings to become a 1 gram or 10 to the power of 9 cell mass, which is the smallest detectable size. Microscopic metastasis, that is smallest detectable size. And within 10 further doublings, it becomes to the size of 1 kg. It is of course, these features, it is data is for the humans. So it becomes 1 kg within 10 further doublings, and that is the maximum compatible size in case of humans. In case of humans, the maximum compatible size is almost 1 kg, where the tumor is of the size of 10 to the power of 12 number of cells, and that is the maximum compatible with the life. To that stage, most of the times the individual dies. So that is the rate of growth. So, but then this doubling time varies with the different types of cells. Say for instance, in case of some childhood cancer, it is less than 1 month. And in some cases, like some salivary glands, it is more than 1 year. So it may vary. It will be much smaller. It can vary from just 1 month to 1 year. The doubling time. Another point to be remembered in case of doubling time is that when you say doubling time, that means, as I previously told, it is a time required for 1 cell to become 2 cells. In this doubling time, it normally remains the same, whether it is benign, whether it is normal, or whether it is malignant type of cells. Normally, the doubling time, it remains the same, whether it is a normal cell, whether it is a tumor cell, I mean to say the benign tumor cells, or whether it is a malignant tumor cell. The time required for 1 cell to 2 cell is the same. Then why you say that malignant tumors are growing faster? That is mainly because the number of cells which is multiplying is more in case of malignant tumors. Say for instance, in case of benign tumors, in a normal cell, if I say it's a normal cell, if you say 100 cells, out of the 100 cells, if it is a normal cell, out of 100, 2 may be multiplying. That means 2 cells will multiply at a given point of time. In case of benign tumors, so this is just for an example. It's not the exact figures, just for understanding I'm telling. In case of benign tumors, out of 100 cells, maybe say 20 cells are multiplying. Not 20, say maybe 5 cells are multiplying. In case of malignant tumors, out of 100 cells, 20 cells will be multiplying. So, the number of cells multiplying at a given point of time is more. And that is basically responsible for increase in the rate of growth. So, a malignant tumor grows faster because the number of cells multiplying at a given point of time is more in case of malignant tumors. That is what you normally say that as replicative pool, or which is also referred to as growth fraction. Replicative pool or growth fraction. That means the number of cells which is proliferating, that is multiplying at a given point of time. So that determines the rate of growth. In normal cell, it is only 2. In benign cells, maybe 5, 4 or 5. In malignant cells, it is 20 cells. Then the next feature is rate at which the cells are shed or lost in a growing lesion. The rate at which the cells are shed or lost in a growing lesion. So that is mainly what you mean to say that as the tumor grows, the cells leaves the replicative pool due to shedding or lack of nutrition or apoptosis. So as the tumor grows in size, so then the cells which is in the center, they will have less amount of nutrients. So when they have less amount of nutrients, they undergo death. That is, it can undergo apoptosis. Due to lack of nutrients, it goes on apoptosis. Or it can be shed from the periphery. The tumor cells can be removed from the replicative pool, or it may be necrosis. Even if due to lack of nutrients, what do you mean by lack of nutrients? It basically refers to the necrosis. You have the next class. You have class from 11 o'clock. What class is that?
Biochemistry, sir.
Class is there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's already 11, so let us stop here. We will continue in the next class. Any doubts so far? What has been taught? If you have any doubts, you can ask. You can clarify. Otherwise, we will meet in next class on Thursday. Note